losing some of my usefulness, but I'm just doing a little test. I made a video of me mentioning it, and I think I forgot to upload it, but I was looking in the book here, the Star book. I actually had a copy of it in my work truck, and while I was working on the unit, I was just going through reading. I'm like, I wonder if this has an analog output, to. So I'm looking here. Here's a universal analog output, the AM terminals, 0 to 10 volt output. So live, hopefully. Sometimes I almost think he knows I'm live. He does that. I'll call him back in a second. So right here. So then you change the setting to this, and in that option, and yeah, it displays the DC bus voltage, and it's that 10 volt analog signal, which I divide by 2 resistors. So it's, like I said, split that 0 to 10 volts in half. And when you put up the 5 volt analog into this chip, got it directly into my chip ground. Anyway, so it's taking the voltage, and it's actually reading very voltage, 300 plus volts DC down to less than 5 volts, so I could read it. I was going through optical isolators and whatnot, using transistors and stuff that was biasing to kind of change it from that power supply to the other one that's isolated. And I think I was getting a little bit of drift because now that everything's warmer, I noticed that it was reading, and my range was a little different. It's still working, but it's just off a little bit. I'm just getting blown up with phone calls and texts as soon as I went live. Anyway, so right now it's running. I have the DC unplugged just for now, and I kind of got my value set. It's a different range, but like I said, 5 volts is 255, 0 volts is 0 for an 8-bit value, and it's in there. So my amps are reading really high, bouncing around, but that's because I turned this down to the point where it's clipping, or it's pulsing the triac every now and then just to maintain around 330 volts. So right now the sun way down, it's going to help it, and it's going to drop that amp. It's not going to be like it was earlier in the day. So my voltage, you can see it just stabled up a little bit more, and then that amp's go down about 4 or 5. But that's reading inaccurate. It's an RMS meter, like I keep saying in my videos, and I'm noticing that when you're just reading quick little pulses, from a triac gated, triac, it's a short little pulses on and off. It's not getting an RMS amp meter, just gives you totally. And if you go on here, what the actual compressor's pulling at 3-phase, mind you, but it's like 7.5 times 1.6 or whatever it is what it's actually pulling. So it's going to be pulling probably about 12 amps or something is what I'm actually probably drawing. I think it's on. It'll probably drop back to first here pretty soon. With me interrupting it a few times, it probably let the house get a little warmer upstairs. And it's got to probably run a little bit before it'll drop back to first stage, which is where I get the benefit, man. Because on first stage, it will run on the solar alone, even until the sun goes down quite a bit. But it won't keep, the sun can't run it on first stage, or second stage, once it gets past like 1:32 o'clock or something, get past that prime full output. So anyway, seems to be working. I'm gonna plug this again. Doesn't even miss a beat. So, and I had to swap chips. I had to program one chip different from the other one. The way I'm going to an optical isolator, you got your, the way you wire the collector output and everything, it inverts the signal. So I invert the analog value, with software when I'm using this other input going through the optical isolator. And then when I bypassed it, the value was working backwards to where like 5 volts was 0 and 0 volts was 255. So I had to take that inversion out of my code and just program another chip, which I popped in there. Man, I'm bending these pins. Anyway, that looks like a pretty good success, but I might just plug it back in the way it was for tonight, just because might just build another board or something. I don't know, to simplify it. Who knows? Because I won't need that board anymore. And, I don't know. I'm still going to probably work on using pulse width modulation output instead of gating a triac. That way I'll get more of a stable, continuous draw on my line voltage instead of the pulses. The way my microprocessor is going on and off every 70 milliseconds or whatever, you know, with the track. It just makes it hard to read my amps and just know what it's really doing. So I probably won't modify this. I'll probably just solder this wire back on where it was on the optical output and hook it back up the way it was for now, and then just build that other circuit. So this is basically evolving, but it's cool as shit that it's been working for like a week or so now to automatically tap into the utility power just as it needs it, yet that it's getting there. So that's the idea. So anyway, I better end this video. Gotta call those people back. So yeah, this is kind of cool though. Catch you guys later.